Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome again to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. And yes, we are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, the usual disclaimers. In the description box, you are going to see the link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It is written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by Autistics for Autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's quote-unquote behavioral modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they do not remove it from the website. So folks, you know the drill. Please read that article and share on all your social media. We also have a link to NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding folks in case the JRC has the balls to see through with their threat. We also have the links to the Agape boarding school situation. Agape boarding school is a Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri, where they take in so-called troubled male teens, including autistic boys. Don't get me started. They have and pending over 21 lawsuits leveled against them right now that is alleging sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional and psychological abuse. As of now, child trafficking has been added, as well as starvation. They've had one former staff member arrested by the FBI. Another is up on substantiated allegations of multiple cases of sodomy and sexual abuse. And folks, we literally have the county prosecutor, as of yesterday morning, say that it was within Agape boarding school's rights to restrain those kids however they see fit in place of their parents. Their forms of restraint include handcuffing a teen for over 100 fucking days with barely any water or food. Okay? So this is the dichotomy that we're working with here, where the prosecutor on the case is literally abuse apologizing, okay? My entire state is being run by the fucking circus right now. So please go to those links, read the news articles, get a good idea of what's going on. Please spread on all your social media. We need all eyes on this. These kids are coming from all over the United States to this hellhole. Parents are paying thousands of dollars a year for their children to be abused, sexually assaulted, and apparently trafficked, amongst other things, okay? We also have linked the change.org Shut Agape Boarding School Down petition. Again, sign it and share it on all your social media, all right? Okay, we also got the pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Hoya's massive archive on the subject, the templates, and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org Shut Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. When we discuss the JRC, folks, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones, all right? Also, this channel is marked not for children for a reason. We use profanity and we talk about dark subjects on this channel. If your child is 16 or younger, parental advisory is obviously there, okay? All right, folks, it's 5:20 a.m. in the morning. I'm not even close to being awake, so if I stumble over my words, apologies in advance, all right? Now be prepared, because we're in the room for some more stupid, all right? So, yeah, just letting you know, the first sentence is batshit. So where we left off yesterday. Treatment program opportunities may, in some cases, require highly artificial or abnormal stimulus situations that do not necessarily occur in normal situations outside of JRC. In other words, they're pulling situations out of their ass that don't actually really occur in the real world. But it's to help them. Why the fuck are you doing it then? These circumstances do not take place in the real world. Why the fuck are you doing it? Because that's just torture for torture's sake. But that's not how they're going to see it. Let's see how they blow smoke up our asses this morning, shall we? Have you prepared a calming drink? Please pause and do it now, because we're about to get into some stupid. For example, to teach a student not to play with matches, we might set up several opportunities every day in which the student is given easy access to matches, something that is unlikely to occur under normal circumstances outside the JRC. Are you asking for the kid to set the building on fire? Because that's how you get the building on fire. Especially if you are dealing with an autistic who's had it up the fucking here, okay? You put them in that torture hellhole. You give them easy access to fucking matches. The moment they can get away from your ass, guess what's gonna fucking happen? Especially with your bizarre behavioral rehearsal lessons. If you fucking grab them by the shirt collar after they get a hold of some matches, what the fuck do you think they're gonna do? What do you think I would do? You think I would be on striking one of those matches and lighting their fucking shirt on fire? Because I'm not. I'm not above it at all. And let me guess, that will then provide for another reason for you to torture us more, even though you're the one who provoked the situation, right? We live in a world, folks, where the JRC wants us to believe that the neurotypicals are always right and there's some idea of a romanticized normal that in no way reflects reality. Oh, but we got no problems for them if they provoke us, even though we're basically sent out there with targets on our backs. Thank you, media. Jesus Christ, kill me. Alright, in designing program opportunities, we obviously cannot limit ourselves to situations that might occur in normal circumstances outside the JRC. Wow. We can't limit ourselves to reality. We have to give up and give these fantasies where they can get a hold of the object so that when they do, we can torture them. Even though it doesn't really occur in the real world, because we need to teach them that it's wrong, even if it's a low frequency behavior. For fuck's sake. For fuck's sake. Can I tell you what it is about us and lighters and matches? It's a rhythmic thing. It's a stem thing. Like if we use the lighter, it's a repetition. You get that little clicky sound. It's soothing, all right? It's kind of the same thing for those who prefer matches as opposed to lighters. We're not necessarily looking to set anyone on fire. In fact, most of the folks that I see that do that with matches have the peace of mind, are in the state of mind that they know that after they do it, they need to stomp on the actual match. Most of these idiots don't seem to realize that one of the easiest ways to deal with a stim that could possibly end up being dangerous is the concept of replace it with a safer stim. See, that's what I was taught. To switch my stimming around, replace it with another object that is less likely to cause myself or others harm, but I was still allowed to stim and self-regulate. Oh, but we can't have that. We can't have logic ever enter the conversation. We got to create these insane scenarios and then provoke behaviors so that we can then torture them for it. More than likely situations that are not going to ever occur out in the real world. You see how batshit insane that sounds when there's actually a logical, safe alternative? My pica, when I was younger, remember, I liked that copper. What did my mom do? Did she give me a spanking for doing it? No. She's a logical woman. So we got me a cup of ice cubes that still have that kind of light, cold kind of tasting thing that helped me self regulate. And I would grab those instead when I felt the need to stim that way. Therefore, I had no more risk of choking on metal and ingesting metal into my body. Makes perfect sense, right? But no, not the JRC, not the fucking medical model. No, they want to completely, but you gotta stop stimming because you can't do that in the real world. Why the fuck not? I've gotten away with it. I've gotten away with it for damn near 40 years now. I'm perfectly fine, I promise you. Well, mostly, anyways. It's an ableist word out there, and my state is being ran by the goddamn circus right now. But you see what I'm saying, folks. The JRC would rather create a fantastical scenario that does not exist anywhere outside in the real world. And when we predictively, when provoked, then act out, are then tortured by it. Again, JRC doesn't deal in reality. They want us to be more human than human while being allowed to treat us as subhuman all at the same time. It's a literal mindfuck, folks. It's a literal mindfuck. In designing program opportunity, our goal is to strengthen certain skills. Jesus Christ. Just as a track runner might practice 25 starts in a row to strengthen his skill of getting off the blocks quickly, did you really just compare yourself to training for a support? Because that's not it. This is not even comparing apples to oranges here. You're literally comparing training for a race to shocking someone at 45 mph. These things are not the same, Karen. If a person is not getting off the block quick enough, I don't think they're fucking strung up on electrodes, thrown on a 4-point board, and face down with a helmet and shocked over 31 times. These things are not the same. I don't think if you're going for a race, if you don't get off the block fast enough, that you're going to be deprived of the right to be able to eat or sleep. Nor do I think you're going to be grabbed off by your fucking shirt collar by your coach. Right? And then threatened and provoked to anger. Jesus Christ. A frequency of starts do not normally occur in a race, so also we at JRC create program opportunities that occur with higher frequency than normal occurs in actual outside the JRC situations. These are not the same things, JRC. These are not the same things, and the fact that you can justify yourself with this garbage is batshit insane. So let's kind of take a look at digging into this insanity here. So the JRC is going to create scenarios out of fucking thin air that do not exist anywhere out there in the real world because we want them to practice. Practice what? Being neurotypical? Because we'll never be neurotypical. No matter how much you shock us and torture us, no matter how much you starve us or deprive us of sleep, we are never going to be neurotypical. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. To then create these fantastical scenarios out of your ass and then torture us when, obviously, when provoked, we act, is batshit insane. But will give you more practice on how to have the appropriate response. Really? Really? Does it, though? Does it? Or does it condition us to, again, accept abuse quietly without mouthing a word of protest? Does it instead, once again, groom us to be victims of violence and abuse for the rest of our goddamn lives? Does it not instead point a target on our back for every single predator in the fucking world to see? You're grooming us to accept abuse, JRC. That's what this is. To compare it with something along the lines of sports training is batshit insane. But that doesn't really occur in the real world during a race. No, but it occurs in the real world during practice. Not to mention, it's not the goddamn same thing. Runners are not going to face the same consequences if they're not off the block fast enough as these kids face if they act in the predictable manner when provoked. Just as if you were to put the neurotypical kid under the same scenario, they would also act when provoked. Or have you never seen a fucking fist fight in public school, JRC? Because I've seen a lot of them. I've seen quite a few. My brother was involved with a few of them. You understand what I'm saying? What these people do is batshit insane. The justifications that they give are paper thin, and then to kind of put the fucking trifecta on there, they then are going to give you the absolute worst case scenarios of one thing with one stupid that happened one fucking time and use it as an excuse for systematic torture and abuse of children that has literally caused 6 deaths. You notice they never answer about that. They never have an answer when you confront them with the 6 dead students whose deaths they caused through their adversive therapy. Any other school or program would be shut the fuck down. Usually. But remember, we're dealing with JRC and you got places like Agape out there. Most normal fucking schools would close at the deaths of 6 students. Okay? Their methods do not work no matter what they tell you. They'll tell you they work because they're no longer engaging in behaviors, so that's a success. Traumatizing a student into compliance is not a success. By anyone's definition, other than the people who run the goddamn troubled teen industry and places like the JRC. And I'm going to close out on that. We don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this subject. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time, so please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning, and as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.